Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lana, and today I'm gonna talk to you about my 2023 reading plans. If you've been here before, you know I don't like to plan my reading too much. I am 100% a type A person. I love planning and organizing, but not when it comes to my reading. For some reason, it just it doesn't work. But for 2023, I did end up making some commitments. I don't know if they will pan out. It just feels right to have set these rules for myself for the year. We will see how I do. There are several challenges that I'm trying to do. The first one that I want to talk about is my sister is also a reader, and she reads books and then she recommends to me those that she thinks I will enjoy. And so I have a stack of books that she has recommended I read, and I've not been doing a good job at actually getting to those books. So I did a little TBR of those books. These are not all the books that she recommended to me, but the ones that I have available to me right now. And the plan is just to get through them before the end of the year. First one I have here is Fahrenheit 451. I'm not going to talk about every book and the plot and synopsis, because that will take me forever. Ray Bradbury. Then I have the book Nudge by Richard H. Thaler and Cass R. Sunstein, and I'm pretty sure this is about behavioral economics. And I remember her reading this book and saying that it's the type of book that everyone should read, so I'm excited to get to it. This is a nonfiction. Then I have this one, which is my voice. Then I have this one, which is the Russian edition of the book Range. Yes, Range, there you go. And this is another nonfiction that she really enjoyed and wants me to read. And there's another nonfiction. Here is the English cover. I don't know how it was translated, so I can't tell you right now. I did not look it up, but I actually heard about this book from several people. One of my good friends got it recommended to her by a doctor that she's seeing, and she really enjoyed. I've been hearing about this book a lot, and I'm excited to get to it as well this year. A lot of nonfiction. There's also The Graveyard Book. She actually ended up reading a lot of Neil Gaiman last year, and she really enjoyed it, and her favorite was The Graveyard Book. And that's one I have not read, but I have had it on my TBR for a while, so The Graveyard Book is added to that list. So these are 5 books that my sister recommended that I'm planning to read in 2023. Next thing I'm planning is to reread Lord of the Rings again. On the last day of the year, I was buying my sister a present at a bookstore, and I saw The Hobbit being sold 70% off because it's damaged. It's a little bent, but it was ridiculously cheap for this beautiful edition. It's full of Alan Lee illustrations. They're absolutely iconic, and the quality of this book is superb. I had a copy years ago when I first read it when I was 8, and since then I don't think I've ever revisited it. So since I was already planning to do my Lord of the Rings reread this year, I've decided to also add The Hobbit to it, because why not? And of course, the Lord of the Rings reread, super excited about it. This will be my second reread of the series. I'm planning to do it closer to the summer. For some reason, every summer for the last several years, my reading has slumped. So I think having a reread of books I love already should help with that. Next thing I'm attempting to do this year is go through The Artist Way again. It has 12 chapters, and at the end of each chapter there is a set of tasks to do for the week. So ideally this book should take you about 13 weeks to read. Last time I did this, it took me several months because I kept taking breaks. I'm absolutely not committing to finishing this book in 12 weeks. This is pretty, I don't want to say intense, but it's not necessarily a light read, and the tasks, some tasks I remember from last time, you have to sit with your feelings and journal things and find things. I would cry and a lot of emotions would be brought up. It's not an easy thing to do. I originally planned to do this again every two years, but it has been 3 years now since the first time I did it, and I think it's time to go through it again. I am scared but excited to be reminded of all the things that this book has taught me. I am trying to talk my friend who I originally went through this book with to do it with me this year. We'll see if it happens. I'm excited but scared. So these were like 3 projects that I've come up with myself for my own reading, and the next 2 challenges were created by other booktubers that I'm not 100% committing to these challenges, but I will like to try and stick with them for as long as I can. The first one is 2023 Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, and it's all about minimizing your owned TBR, whether it's owned physical books or ebooks or audiobooks. And I feel like reading books that we already own is on everyone's reading goals for the year. So there is a prompt for each month. The prompt is connected to the previous book you read. So for example, in January, the prompt is to read with A or the in the title. Me personally, I'm reading right now Agatha Christie, The 13th Problem, and the prompt for February is to read a book, Complementary Colors, based on the cover of this book. And then for March, the prompt is also based on the book that you would read in February, so it kind of goes from book to book. So of course you can go ahead and plan your reading for the year this way. Me as a mood reader, I kind of like the fact that I don't really know what's coming, and when I pick a book to read, then I can start looking at other options that I have based on the prompts. I will link this challenge below if you want to participate. There are some very fun prompts here. Pick a book of a different genre, title has as many letters as the previous book, set in the same genre or in a different time period. Like, looking at the list of the prompts, I feel very hopeful about this challenge. And the last challenge that I will try to do this year is the Buzzword Reading Challenge by Kayla from Books and Lala. This is the challenge that I'm most intimidated by, but I will see if I can do it. In this challenge, every month has a prompt that is a buzzword that should appear in the title. It's either the exact words that should be in the title of the book or like a general category of words. Like in December, the prompt is sound related words. I've been watching Kayla's videos for a long time, and I've been aware of this challenge that she does every year for a long time, and I'm going to actually try and participate this year. For this one, I do want to go through the prompts with you and kind of show you my possibilities, books that I am choosing from. For January, the words are life or death. I don't have anything on my physical TBR for this prompt, but here are some books that are on my TBR that I could potentially choose for this month. Oh my god, it's already January. I should pick this book soon. So here are some non-fiction choices that I have. Your Art Will Save Your Life is actually an ebook that I own, so I'm gravitating towards that one. Here are some fictional books that I could potentially read this month. There's The Afterlife of Holly Chase, Reckless Afterlife of Harriet Stoker. These 2 books, I keep mixing them up in my head. And there's The Death of Jane Lawrence, which I don't think I would be picking this one up because I know it's kind of a retelling of Jane Eyre, and I've not read Jane Eyre yet, so I would prefer to read that one first. Then there's The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware, which has been on my TBR for so long. The prompt for February is verbs. Out of my physical TBR, the 2 books that work for this prompt are these 2 ones. Both of these are Russian translation. This one is like a short book with a speech of a trans man not performing, speaking at a conference. And this one is Widen Your Window. It's about psychology and trauma and healing trauma. It's a pretty dense and heavy book, and I would love to at least start it. I would love to finally get to this book, but I'm just so intimidated by it. And out of other books that are not on my physical TBR are these ones that I am inclined to read, that I would love to read. Down Comes the Night. It's like a romance, gothic romance, I think. They Never Learn, a thriller, and Why Won't You Apologize, a nonfiction that I've heard amazing things about. Next we have March, that has the word secret. Kayla was very particular about this being exactly the word secret, like the title has to have secret in the title. And here are some options from my want to read, but the book that we'll actually be reading in March that fits the prompt if we change it a little bit is All Our Hidden Gifts. And this is me bending the word secret into hidden. No one's going to mind, but the reason I'm planning to read this in March is because this is by an Irish author, and March is when the Irish Readathon usually is hosted. So I'm keeping this for the Irish Readathon. That would be perfect. Or I can read this and one of these books that I've been wanting to read for a while. April is very hard because the prompt is emotions, so words that express emotions, and I couldn't find like anything. I've been looking through my physical TBR, my ebook TBR, my wants to read shelf on Goodreads, and there's nothing. The only two books that I found are these two, which are nonfiction. Good Morning, I Love You. Having the word love, is that in motion?
Love, is that in motion?
By Shana Shapiro. Really want to read this book, by the way. And Antonia Damasio, The Feeling of What Happens, The Feeling. Next is another month that was really hard for me to pick a book for because it needs a flavor in the title, which also is so vague and I couldn't find anything. The only thing I could find is A Taste of Gold and Iron, because it has the word taste, and I'm not even sure it qualifies as a flavor word, but this is the best one I got. The prompt for June is the word other, and I do have some books. Here are the books that I found that could fit that prompt. The Other Bennett Sister, Through the Language Glass, Why the World Looks Different in Other Languages, and The Other Black Girl. But when it comes to these prompts, the books that I would like to prioritize are the books on my physical TBR, and the book on my physical TBR that could fit this prompt if, once again, we don't take the exact word other, but something similar to it, is The Stranger's Child, because stranger and other, they're not at all the same, but within the context of this title, I think they are similar. And this book has been on my TBR for so long. I would love to take this opportunity to finally find out what this book is even about and if I want to keep it on my shelves or not. Next is July, and the prompt is weather words. Once again, there's nothing on my physical TBR that fits this prompt, but here are some books that I am interested in that could fit this one. The Name of the Wind, which I'm actually kind of intimidated by. She Who Became the Sun. I'm so excited about She Who Became the Sun. Anyway, The Wind Blows. Then there's Snow by John Banville, which I think is a thriller, mystery thriller. And Winter's Orbit, which is a sci-fi book. And as you know me, I don't read sci-fi books, but I was specifically recommended this one by Amrita. She said that I would enjoy this. So even though I would love to read all of these, Winter's Orbit right now, today, is the book that I'm gravitating towards the most, but we will see what happens in July. Next is August, and the prompt is body parts, and here are some nonfiction books that could fit this: How to Build a Healthy Brain, Sitting Pretty, Speak, Vagina Re-Education, and then there are some fiction books that fit this prompt as well. The Bone Houses, which is Heart, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, and Till We Have Faces. A lot of books that fit this prompt, but none on my physical shelves. And then September has game words. On my physical TBR, the book that fits this prompt is Rule of Wolves. Rule being a game word, right? Because games need rules. Ideally, I would love to have read this book by September already, but if not, that would be a great reason to finally. If not this book, here are some other options. I have The Scorpio Races, The Murder Game, Ace of Spades, and the nonfiction book The Status Game. Then we have October with magic words. Nothing on my physical TBR, but two books from my want to read: Spellbound, which is a historical fantasy romance, and Witches of Lichford, which I don't remember what it's about. November has the word good, and for that one I have The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I would want to have read this book before November of this year, but if not, the sequel to this book, which I already have, is Good Girl, Bad Blood. It also has the word good. If not, here are 3 books from my want to read for your own good, which I'm pretty sure I have an audiobook for: A Good Marriage, and the nonfiction In an Unspoken Voice, How the Body Releases Trauma and Restores Goodness. It has the word goodness. And the last one is December, with the prompt Sounds Related Words. I have these 4 options. There is Sounds and Sweet Airs, a nonfiction about classical music, women in classical music. There's Murakami, What I Talk About When I Talk About Running, Wolf Song. And I also put this Italian mystery thriller, La Casa delle Voci, The House of Voices, but I actually already started reading it and I'm like 20% into this book, so I will definitely finish it before December of the year. So these are the 5 reading challenges that I set for this year. Will I succeed in any of them? Who knows? But I feel very hopeful about this year in general and my reading in 2023, and I hope you do feel hopeful about your own reading plans as well. Let me know if you're doing any reading challenges this year. What are they? I will try to link everything below that I mentioned. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!